Hey, kids, welcome in. It's just after high noon, 12:04 to be precise, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and I have the duty and honor of hosting proceedings until about 3 o'clock this afternoon. We call it the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased you've joined us. Whatever time you're able to give us, I'm appreciative of it, whether it's 5 minutes or the full 3 hours. And we have a jam-packed broadcast today. It's something of a holiday broadcast today as we're nearing Christmas time. 9 shopping days left until Christmas, 10 full days until Christmas. I only have 2 shows today and Monday until I'm done until after Christmas. I'll be back before the new year, but I'm done until after Christmas. You know what I said to Dan Mandis, our program director, illustrious leader? Did you see, by the way, speaking of Mandis, holy moly, I got like 14 different things to do already. So let's structure it the right way. It's the Matt Murphy Show, 615-737-9986. Thank you for listening on the radio, 99.7 FM. Thank you for listening on your internet streams, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you stream information or music. You can stream us. And then there's our app. You can download that and take us wherever you go. And then we have Super Talk TV up and running. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, episode 476 of these proceedings on these airwaves. And Super Talk TV today is always entitled by Bell K, and Headless Bell has entitled today's episode
Murphy Show. It's First Amendment freestyle. Can we go home yet?
That's it?
That's it.
Gave up during the middle. But it's probably like the show's going to go. We're going to give up during the middle.
We'll give you a good hour and a half, and after that, no promises.
I'm not sure when the good hour and a half's coming, but it will come at some point during the 3 hours. It might be 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. You just have to piece it together. That's all I can promise you. About half the show is going to be good. Only the mediocre are good 100% of the time. Write that down. You heard me say it. Only the mediocre are good 100% of the time. So, speaking of good versus mediocre, we have this is a little bit inside baseball, but I want to note it, and I would never note it for myself, although we ranked fairly high in our portion of the broadcast day. Did you see where Mandis was nationally, program directors?
Mm-mm.
So there's an organization called Barrett News Service that it's an insider. What do you call these? Like
trade magazine.
It's like a trade magazine. Thank you very much, Bill. It's a trade magazine, but it is a trade online publication. And it's, a lot of insider information. This person's moving from this radio station to that radio station. They cover news talk radio. They also cover sports talk radio. And they have annual rankings of the best in the business. And we were honored to be ranked 13th across the country, midday shows in the nation. I think Chris Hand was ranked. Brian Wilson was ranked. Dan Mandis was ranked as a morning show. And Dan Mandis was selected as the 4th best program director in the United States of America for news talk radio that we do. I mean, there are plenty of stations out there. There are plenty of choices and options out there. And I mean this sincerely. I say all this to set up I'm about to pick on him, but I mean this sincerely. He's the best boss I've ever had, and he is a fabulous PD, a pretty good morning man, too, on Nashville's Morning News. And I appreciate Mandis wholeheartedly. Number 4 in the country, program directors across the United States of America. That's a nice honor. And if you have the time, send him a note and say, congratulations, Dan, on that recognition. It's well-deserved.
And then he'll be like, thanks.
He has Dan can't take a compliment.
No.
All right, so that out of the way, we've got a couple of things to tell you about. One, Jay St. Clair will be in this hour. Libertarian Lunch becomes Friday at about 12:20 this afternoon. We will cover Roy's Meat Service. The story that I have talked about over the last several days and really weeks. We're still anticipating a conversation with Jeff Roy, but he has to clear it through his legal department because he's currently being sued. That said, I made Jay St. Clair aware of the case, and he's going to break it down from a legal perspective and tell us what the chances are that this woman is ultimately successful in her effort to shut Jeff Roy down. Number 2, Jay's going to talk to us about after-school Satan Club in Memphis and the legality of that. So I look forward to that conversation. That's this hour. In hour number 2, Taylor Hicks joins us. star of stage and screen, and obviously music man Taylor Hicks, soul man Taylor Hicks, will be in studio with us to talk about his rendition of Jingle Bell. You're going to have that, right? You're going to have Jingle Bells? You're going to have that up and ready? I sent you the link.
Some version of it.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
You did not send that to me.
I most certainly did.
You are higher than a kite.
Uh-huh. You just go back and you look.
All right.
I forwarded his from his person, Mackenzie. I forwarded you information about Taylor's visit today, and it included a link to his version of Jingle Bells. You'll see. And you'll say, oh, yeah, I got that. I ignored it when you find it. So that's coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, so we'll have a little fun with that. We're going to have a bit of fun today, although we're not ignoring the news. We're not ignoring the news, and we'll let you know if anything breaks over the course of the afternoon as well. Plus, Friday Mac Attack in the 2 o'clock hour. Today's draft, if you are familiar with Friday Mac Attack, you know how we do this now. It's a favored segment on the Matt Murphy Show, especially on these Fridays. Mac Morey stops in. Bell K's here, Matt Murphy's here, and we draft different subjects. And today's subject of our draft, holiday/Christmas movies. And I have made an official declaration, and Morey has agreed with it, Bell, so the two wolves have already voted the sheep for dinner. We're doing 4 rounds today. Not 3, but 4.
Okay.
And I think we need to because there's so many good Christmas movies. It would be, I want to dig a little deeper. I want to get underneath the A category movies and B category movies and maybe get into the C category movies. And so we'll have 4 rounds of voting today on holiday movies coming up for Friday Mac Attack on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Did you find it? You didn't find it?
No, I don't have it.
I think you're lying.
No, honest God, I don't.
Okay, so here's what I heard. This is where I'm starting the show. Look, I could rant and rave about the National Defense Authorization Act as I did yesterday. I could wax rhapsodic on our conversation with Scott Desjardins, many of you responding to that over the last 20 hours. Just know this, no matter who you are or what you are, I appreciate the fact that you're coming on the show if you're a politician, but know that I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. I consider our show and this radio station, by extension, a voice for the people of Middle Tennessee and beyond. And if I cannot speak for you, now, maybe sometimes you and I will disagree, and that's all well and good, too. That's what it's all about. But if I can't speak truth to power in that fashion, I'm not doing my job. And I learned a long time ago that politicians hold access as currency. And I'm not going to allow them to get away with bribery. Does that make sense to everyone? Politicians hold access as currency. That means, I want Governor Bill Leon. We're going to limit his access to you. And if you say potentially the wrong, I'm using Bill Lee as an example. They've never said this or never done this with me, and they've always been very gracious with their time. It's just the first example that came to mind. I'll use politician X. They say, if Matt talks bad about this or that, or what is his position on this or that, or what questions are No, that's not how any of this works, man. So we try to cut through that, and I appreciate the fact that Scott Desjardins knew that I was going to yell at him, and he came on anyway. You can listen to that podcast. It's up and running at Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Right now, just click on Matt Murphy, click on shows, Matt Murphy, or podcast, Matt Murphy, and you can get there pretty easily. So all I know, Bell K has pulled some audio for me. All I know is I was taking care of some business, woke up a little late today. I was out late last night for an anniversary dinner.
Where'd you guys go?
The Catbird Seat.
Yeah, that's where we were talking about.
Most expensive meal I've ever had.
Did you like it?
It was one-off. It was unique. It was incredible. It was some of the best food I've ever put in my mouth. Wow. I mean, it was incredible. Some of the flavors that he put together. And I don't even know who the head chef was because there were like 6 guys. It's an open kitchen. It's a U-shaped bar. Like a bar. You're sitting on a high-top stool. There's a booth in the corner. I guess that's maybe for people who can't manage to access the bar area. But they take you up one party at a time upstairs. It's upstairs on a second floor, and you go on an elevator. But you don't go, as a group. They escort you up. They asked me my name. I said Murphy. They said happy anniversary. I said thank you. when we got to where we were sitting at the bar, they had a card for us, an anniversary card, which was nice.
Wow, somebody's paying attention to the details.
There were, I think, 13 courses. But it's like tastings. So these are, so you see the itty bitty, I mean, it's almost like a scene out of a movie, a satire movie where I think, do you eat it or did you eat it? Like where did the food go kind of thing. But you realize there's so much coming and so many different flavors coming and so many different things coming your way. By the time you're done, you're full. I mean, you're almost over full. But they paired wine with everything or sparkling with everything, depending on the course. It was an incredible experience.
Erica like it?
She did.
Good.
She did. She thought it was great.
Saved yourself for another year, man.
I know. Now I've got to work even harder to,
you did set the bar a little high there.
Pay the bills, baby. No, I was talking about the bill.
Oh.
Anyway, so woke up a little late, got a little late start, did not catch some of Nashville's morning news as I normally do. But in the 8 o'clock hour, do you have the 8 o'clock hour piece where he was lamenting what happened? So in case you missed it.
Don't let Murphy know part.
Yeah. I want you to play that before we play the original. So this is what I heard. I've not heard what happened. I'm going to listen to that with you for the first time, if you did not hear it. If you did hear it, you probably know what's coming. So Mandis is becoming relatively famous or infamous, as the case may be, in his attempts at humor. I would pay good money to charity. I would lay it down right here. Bell, this is an idea for 2024. I would lay good money down. I think we could collect, I don't know, how much money do you think it would cost us to convince Mandis to do a 5-minute comedy set at Zany's?
We don't have that much money.
If we could raise like $25,000 for charity, you think he'd do it?
No.
You think he'd do it if I did it with him?
No.
Do you think there's any amount of money or any amount of convincing that I could raise or make that would cause him to do it?
Absolutely not.
I disagree. I think public pressure gets on him, and we raise a little money. We get him for 5 minutes at Zany's to do a comedy set. I'd go with him. I'd do a set with him. Watch out, Bell. Don't curse. Your mic's on. Bell's frustrated. I can see it in there. Headless Bell's going to lose his mind. I know, that's an oxymoron because he doesn't have a head. Should we do this later? We should do this later? No, we can do it now? Okay, good. All right, here's Dan Mandis this morning on Nashville's Morning News explaining to Johnny B. and Ken not to tell me about a joke he tried to tell in the 7 o'clock hour. Go.
And I've completely shanked everything this morning.
Brother Dan Mandis,
I shanked the clock. I shanked my big joke that I tried to do. And nobody tell Matt Murphy. He'll pull the audio.
Murphy Show.
He's calling up John. He's texting Johnny now. What time was that shank joke?
You know what I did?
You know, when an L makes all the difference in the world.
And especially when we're sitting there trying to tell you.
I didn't get it, man. I didn't get it.
You may want to include the L. Both of us were.
All right, so there's Mandis this morning.
It's been a...
All right, so there's Mandis this morning telling, don't tell me. So I heard that, and what did I do, Bell? What's the first thing that I did?
You texted me and told me to pull the audio.
Well, no, that's the second thing that I did. The first thing that I did was text Johnny B and say, what time was that audio? And, of course, Johnny B immediately told me because Johnny B likes me. Ha-ha. I also texted Weaver. Weaver had his man's back. Weaver never responded. Weaver had his newsman hat on.
Yeah, Johnny's like, Dan, this is what the underside of a bus looks like.
Yeah, no question. So I'm going to listen to this for the first time. It has something to do with an L. I have no idea. So I get great delight in listening to Dan try to tell jokes. And Dan knows that. So here's Dan Mandis in the 7 o'clock hour for those who missed it on Nashville's Morning News attempting to tell a joke. Go.
He called him a master class, but It's weird because he's usually pretty eloquent, but when
Hold on, let me start
when he
that over.
says,
All right, yeah, we've got to get to the you go into the beginning there. Yeah.
here's what he says.
It's a master class, I think, in the last.
He called him a master class, but it's weird because he's usually pretty eloquent, but when he says
This guy is a master class.
he called him a master class, but weird because he put a C in there.
Yeah, a CL.
Do you get it? Master. Take out the C and what is it?
This guy is a master class.
Take out the C. Okay, line one.
You may want to add the L to that, Dan.
Sure. All right.
I was getting ready to say Master Lass.
No, never mind. You know what? I went for it.
You did.
You tried to dive
Do you guys
in.
know what I'm doing?
Yes.
Master class. Oh,
Still,
CL.
he
We
still
got it.
doesn't
Yeah.
know that
Got
they
it.
know.
trying to
You
tell you.
left the CL.
Yes, that's why I'm trying to tell you. See, you may want to
This
add the L.
See, this is why I shouldn't try to.
He's so
I went
funny.
for it. I swung for the fences.
And you had two of us
Missed.
here trying to help.
Missed badly. So, did you hear right at the beginning when he started to tell the joke? He said, "Oh, he put the C in there." So Dan is I don't even know who's speaking. Who is that talking?
Gavin Newsom talking about Biden.
A master class, and Dan was making a master ass joke,
Right.
and
Or in this case, a master lass.
a last joke because right, and he missed the L, and I want you to cue it up to where Johnny B tries to help him right at the first. Johnny B got it immediately. Said, "Ooh, see, this is an executive producer that's got your back, Bell. You could learn something from this." I did that solely for the look, and I got it. Johnny B tries to save him right at the beginning, and Dan just plows right through, and then says, "You guys don't get it. You don't get my joke." Just play it one more time for me.
It's weird because he's usually pretty eloquent, but when he says
This guy is a master class.
he called him a master class, but weird because he put a C in there.
Yeah, a CL.
Do you get it? Master. Take out the C and what is it?
This guy is a master class.
Take out the C.
He tried to save him.
Okay,
There's an
line
L.
one.
You may want to add the L to that, Dan.
Sure. All right.
I was getting ready to say Master
Still
Lass.
didn't got it. Still didn't got it.
Never mind. You know what?
Wait.
Wait
for it.
I went for it.
You tried to dive
Do
in.
you guys know what I'm doing?
Yes.
Master class. Oh,
Yo,
CL.
we
Got
talked
it.
about that. That's what we were trying to
You
tell you.
left the CL.
I love my favorite part. Is Dan is he's not mansplaining, he's Dan-splaining. He's Dan-splaining to Johnny B and Kent. You guys get what I'm doing here? And I'm like, yes, they get that you're doing it wrong. They tried to help. I love Dan. Number 4, baby. Number 4 in the United States of America. Best PDs in the country. It's 12:22. Jay St. Clair's up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Let's talk about your safety and security. I understand during the holidays, you want to think about fun and frivolity and holiday parties and these types of things. Maybe you've got an office party that you've got scheduled. One way or the other, if you're thinking about your business, if you're thinking about your office, if you're thinking about your school or your church, if you're thinking about places that people gather and you're in a decision-making capacity, might I encourage you to call Defend Systems. In 2024, let's make that the year that you engage in a life safety and security consultation firm like Defend Systems. They offer active shooter response training, workplace violence prevention, site surveys, security improvement, emergency and intruder action plans, amongst much, much more. Here's the bottom line, folks. We live in a dangerous world. And in this dangerous world, things could go wrong in a hurry. Now, God forbid it should ever happen to you, and I don't believe that it will ever happen to you. But if it does, you need to be trained. Hope is not an option nor a plan. It is time to get trained with Defend Systems. Do this today. Reach out at 615-236-6484 and schedule something for the new year. 615-236-6484 or go to defendsystems.com. That's defendsystems.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. I'm already running late. It was just the first segment, and we're already running late. I have Jay St. Clair to get to in just moments. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get to St. Clair. A lot of you responding to Dan Mandis's attempt at a joke, and it's pretty funny. So we're going to introduce Jay. We're going to say hello to Jay. We're going to get the pleasantries out of the way, and then we're going to get to the bottom of the hour. And then after the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about Roy's Meat Service. And so, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together. It's Friday.
Good morning, Americans. It's Friday.
That's right. It is time. My legal correspondent, a good Tennessee man born and bred, and my life consultant. He is the one and only Jay St. Clair, and he joins us via the Murphy Show hotline. Jay St. Clair, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
If I were any better, I would be Michael House.
Michael House.
Michael House. Life would be good. I would be married to Sutherland, the former Miss Sutherland Marlin. I would have finished 32nd at the Snowball Derby. And I would be living in one of my favorite places, Columbia, Tennessee.
You're funny. I am, man. We got a call. We got a call from Sutherland.
Well, I hope Miss Sutherland was listening because I just absolutely embarrassed myself on your radio show a few weeks ago, man. And it wasn't the first time, won't be the last. I just don't know where I got it in my mind that Sterling was from East Tennessee, but I did.
Here's the funny thing about this, because nobody minds it and everybody's cool with it and it's all well and good. But I know you well. And if you get something a little off in the law, you go, oh, well, win some, lose some. You miss a ball every once in a while coming at you. Right. But the fact that you got a random factoid about racing wrong, it's under.
Oh, no. No, absolutely. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, man, but I try not to make the same mistake twice.
Uh-huh.
And so once this happened, I can tell you everything you want to know about Sterling Morris. Did you know that he was the captain of his high school football team at Spring Hill High School?
I did not.
He played quarterback and linebacker.
Wow. That's pretty cool, actually.
And he's got two children, Stedman. I think you've heard from him.
I talked to Stedman.
Right now. Yeah, and Sutherland. Sutherland, I sure hope you're listening right now, or somebody tells you about this. I was a little confused.
Sutherland is the daughter, right?
That's right.
And Stedman is the son, and Stedman is the one that called us. And so I think Stedman is either the crew chief or he is a part of Sutherland's husband races. That would be
Stedman. I'm pretty sure now. See, here I'm getting in trouble again. I didn't research Stedman thoroughly, but I'm pretty sure Stedman's got his own race.
He might. You might be right. I might be wrong. One way or the other, we have an invitation to go to the shop, Jay, and you've got to get up here. We got to go.
No, absolutely. We'll get over there and talk about Jimmy Means.
Oh,
they'll know all about it.
Heck, we'll get Jimmy Means on the show to talk about Jimmy Means. How about that?
That's great. That's even better.
All right, Jay. I gave Jay a little homework assignment, and Jay's so good. I mean, he gives me every dollar's worth that I pay him. Every single dime that I pay St. Clair. No, in all seriousness, you're very kind, because I really wanted your legal expertise and kind of your analysis of this situation. So hold on there, Jay. We'll go to the bottom of the hour. We'll tell the story in just a moment. If you've not heard the story about Jeff Roy and Roy's Meat Service, it is a fascinating one to me, and we will continue our conversation with our legal correspondent, Jay St. Clair, next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy. It's the holidays. It's a stressful time of year in a lot of ways. It's a fun time of year in other ways, right? So amongst the fun and the parties and the overeating and overindulging, maybe even the overdrinking, you get stressed out, and that causes heart attacks, folks. I don't wish it on anyone, but it is a fact. According to the American Heart Association, more people have heart attacks between Christmas and New Year than any other time of the year. And with that in mind, I want you to make sure that your heart health is A-OK. Let's talk about the Kraft Body Scan system. Let's talk about CT scans. I've done this for my full body. I would encourage you to do that. But right now, as an introductory way to introduce you to CT scans and what it means for you, they're giving you a heart and lung scan for $149, and you can bring along a friend. You can bring a loved one, a spouse, obviously, husband or wife, or bring a best buddy and say, hey, we want a couple of heart scans and lung scans for me and my friend. We want to make sure that everything's A-OK in our life. It is a positive step toward heart health to make sure that everything's working properly. And you know what? They can see things that you can't feel. That's right. They find it before you become symptomatic. That is so key because it really gives you the gift of life, ultimately, when you find something early on. Call 615-436-1000 for more information and to schedule an appointment. 615-436-1000 or go to craftbodyscan.com. Spell craft with a C, craftbodyscan.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, Taylor Hicks is he's in Franklin. A month from now, less than a month from now, he's got a new version of Jingle Bells out. He's singing some Bob Seger tunes, and he'll be on to talk about all of that and life in general and Christmas time coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Right now, it's Friday.
Well, hey, hold on. Why is he supposed to be here? Why is he in Franklin? If he's supposed to be here, why is he in Franklin?
He will be in Franklin for a concert at the Franklin Theater less than a month from now.
Oh.
And he's coming in to talk about that.
Can we go see him?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
We can schmooze him. Maybe we'll get some fancy VIP seats. And then we can go find some fancy VIPs to fill those fancy VIP seats. Jay St. Clair's with us. Jay, let me give a little bit of the backstory on this tale. Right. And then I'm most curious. I love your legal acumen when it comes to these types of things. So Jeff Roy, and I'm just real quick for those who haven't heard the story. Jeff Roy bought a business that has been in East Nashville since the 1940s. It has been a small mom-and-pop grocery-type convenience store for that length of time. Jeff Roy's life was spent selling meat. He was a wholesale meat guy selling to various grocery stores around the community. He grew up in East Nashville. His father was an iceman, sold ice to businesses in East Nashville, and that's how Jeff became familiar with the owner of the business, who was getting up in age, and he bought the business from the owner. Jeff Roy did in 2015. When he bought the business, he began selling meat products. He sells steaks and chicken. He bought raw, obviously, in his coolers to customers along with other groceries. He is a small grocery store in East Nashville where otherwise there would be a grocery desert. He has also set up some smokers and whatnot outside of his business, and he smokes and cooks food and sells prepared food, which is he's allowed to do as a grocery store. He's licensed as a grocery store. Someone moved from California to East Nashville. You cannot make the details of this story up, Jay, any better, right? So this is a guy who was literally born like 3 blocks away from this store. Bought the store, is keeping it alive. Let me tell you a quick story that I didn't relate to you earlier, Jay. During the COVID pandemic, there was a storm. Tornadoes came through East Nashville, knocked all the power out in that part of town. Jeff Roy realized, this is in 2020, he realized that he was going to lose all of his meat, right?
Right.
So he cranked up his grills and his smokers. He cooked all of his meat and gave it all away to the community. Announced, anybody that needs food, come on by. You can have it for free. I would rather you eat it and make good of it than throw it away. This is the type of community guy he is. So
he's doing the Lord's work.
I mean, he is and I met him, and you would absolutely love him. He sells fried bologna sandwiches at his store. That's all you need to know. All you need to know. So a woman moves in with her partner from California, and I laugh because it's just so stereotypical. And she buys a house right behind him. Mm-hmm. Between 2015, Jay, when he bought the location, and 2021, when she moved in, I want you to guess the number of complaints that were made against his business from 2015 to 2021. How many complaints? 6 years.
6 year period.
Yeah. How many complaints? Zero is the correct answer. Now, this is a tougher one. How many complaints? I may have told you this. How many complaints from 2021 to now?
Let me ask you a question first, Matt. Is this lady that moved in is doing all that? Is her name Karen? She might be the original Karen.
She might be
Karen has filed 44 complaints about this man that's doing the Lord's work.
About everything, right? She complained about his fence. He fixed that. She complained about his lighting. He fixed that. She complained about his dumpster. He fixed that. She complained about parking. He fixed that. And
what
now,
about his gas trap?
She complained about his grease trap. That's right. Fixed that. And now she's complaining about the smoke. And he said he's tried to do everything in his power, cannot satisfy her. She has told him personally. Jeff told me when we sat down and had lunch that she told him that she was going to have him shut down.
Right.
Told him that.
Yeah.
And now she has filed a lawsuit, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've done a little research. Tell me what you know about it. What do you think?
Well, the first thing is zoning. He's got to make sure that he's zoned properly. The fact that this is a private lawsuit, Matt, and the government is not coming after him, makes me feel good for Jeff. I think if he had a real zoning issue, then the county would be coming after him. And apparently that's not happening. This is just her private lawsuit. And this is what I think of when I think of this lawsuit. Well, there's a couple of examples. Let me start with an extreme one. The guy runs a pig farm out in the country. 100-acre pig farm. You ever been around a pig farm?
Yeah, pretty nasty.
Well, I'll give you one better. Have you ever been next to a paper mill?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've driven by. Yeah.
So a guy buys a 2-acre lot next to a paper mill. I mean, right downhill from it. And then he writes him a letter and say, if y'all don't do something about this odor, I'm going to sue you.
Well, I mean, wasn't the paper mill there
Bell,
first?
Can he sue him? Bell, can he sue the paper company?
Bell K, can the dude that bought the property next to the paper mill, can he sue the paper mill company?
Absolutely. $400 in a crayon.
Man, I am so proud you said that, Bill. He absolutely can sue him, and he absolutely can lose because he came to the nuisance, man. The nuisance was there when he bought the property. It was open and obvious, and he knew about it. It's like people buying a block away from the Fairgrounds Raceway, the National Fairgrounds, and then complaining about the noise. Well, ma'am, you moved in a block away from a racetrack. And the racetrack's been there a lot longer than you have. And same thing here, right? I mean, he was cooking when this lady went over there and scoped his house out.
Yep.
So I think on that part of the case, he has a really good chance. I feel really good about his chances there, man. The zoning and licensing thing is a little bit different, but the county hadn't come after him on it.
Right.
So they're happy. I don't think she can sue him for being out of code.
Mm-hmm.
I think what she has to do, that's for the county to decide. So I like Jeff's chances, and tell him if he needs some free legal advice that my contact information is on the internet.
I will. Well, I got it, and I'll give it to him. I absolutely love it. You know, another story that I forgot to relate to you, and I think it would. It's just funny to me. This is the type of guy we're talking about, Jay. You'll love this. So since he bought the property in 2015, has held a block party. Now, this is a residential community, and he has a small business in the residential community.
Where is? How far is it from downtown?
Oh, it's not far at all. I mean, it's over on 19th Street in East Nashville.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Like 10 minutes with bad traffic.
Yeah, 10 minutes away.
Got it.
And he held an annual block party and had, since he bought the business 2015, just to say thank you to the community, cooking food, giving out free food, just a gathering of the neighborhood. Well, this woman, when she moved in, realized he was holding a block party and looked up in the code and discovered that a business was not allowed to hold a block party, that only a residence could hold a block party. So she filed against him with the city, preventing him from holding a block party to benefit the community. Well, you know what he did? He bought the house next door to his business. So that he
is our kind of guy.
He is our kind of people, man. He is our kind of people.
And I'll bet you money when she started all this, she was just expecting him to roll over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm certain. I am certain. Well, we'll help Jeff out any way that we possibly can. Hang in there, Jay, in just a moment. If you've got any questions for Jay St. Clair, if you've got any thoughts for Jay St. Clair, if you've got a concern from a legal standpoint, we've got another opportunity for you to ask said questions. Give us a call, 615-737-9986. You can also hit us up on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, stocking stuffer time from the Glock store. Yeah, I know Glock store is probably not the first place you think for stocking stuffers, but if you have a gun enthusiast in your life, if you have somebody that loves and believes in the Second Amendment, or someone who wants to become more familiar with guns and ammos and everything that comes with it, then you need to get over to the world-famous Glock store. They have gifts from around $25. They've got gifts from around $50. They've got gifts from around $100, and they go up from there. I mean, you can get something for everyone in your family. I'm talking holsters. I'm talking gear and hats. I'm talking concealed carry vests and the like. You can get cleaning kits for as low as $20. You can get a pocket tool for your Glock for as low as $26. I mean, these are things that the gun enthusiast in your life would absolutely love, and they're available right at the Glock store. Or better yet, for the holiday season, what about putting in a gift card for training at their shooting rooms? The shooting rooms are up and available for you at the world-famous Glock Store. Go to shoot270.com or glockstore.com to find out more. And tell the gang over at the world-famous Glock Store, Matt Murphy sent you. On Elm Hill Pike, take Air Lane Drive, and you'll be there. The world-famous Glock Store. Super Talk 99.7 WTN coming up in about 10 minutes or so. My man Taylor Hicks is in the house. He's going to talk about a performance that he's got going on at the Franklin Theater in January. We'll also talk Christmas. We'll talk many other. I mean, who knows? We never know. That's exactly right. We'll talk about the ghetto, too. You never know what we'll get into when we talk with Taylor. That's coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Right now, Jay St. Clair is with us discussing legal matters of importance to, primarily Jeff Roy and Roy's Meat Service, but also of you. Are both of these for Jay? Is that right? All right, Jay, let me figure out how to do this. I'll put you on hold, and there comes Matthew in Clarksville with a question for Jay St. Clair. Matthew, you're up.
Hey, Jay, how you doing today?
I'm good, Matthew.
So this involves Title 4D, so I know that can be a very complicated situation. But if all things are equal between the two parties, is it possible to defeat Title 4D?
What is Title 4D? You need to help. You need to help a publicly educated guy from Georgia out.
So it's part of the Social Security Act, and it deals with child support and how the state is able to go after parents and collect child support. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of lawyers that I've talked to here where I'm at that have no clue about what it is. They've never got into it. But basically, it's child support, and it's part of the Social Security Act of 1935, I think.
Right.
Jay, are you familiar with it?
I say this very, very often, Matthew, but I have no knowledge or information about that area of the law. That's a little tiny area of the law I've never looked at, and I am not going to make up an answer. I'm sorry, I can't help you. If you'll pay me a retainer, I'll go research that.
Well, I mean, honestly, I've dug so deep into it. I mean, what I have found is the Social Security Act lays out very strict guidelines in which child support can be received, but somehow the states do not at all adhere to those guidelines in the Social Security Act. So that may be an option that I have to use.
Are you asking for child support from the government, or are you saying if you get Social Security, you have to pay child support?
No. So I pay child support, but my ex-wife and I are equal in education, earnings, but they're still after me for child support, and they won't turn over any information of how they decide how it's done. There's a child support worksheet, but the child support offices will not provide any information. They say it's privileged. And I believe, unfortunately, the only way I'm going to get that information is if it becomes a criminal matter, because then they have to provide that information, correct?
Well, I hope it doesn't turn into a criminal matter. I'm sorry I can't help you, Matthew, but good luck with it. I'll research that. If you want to call back next week, maybe I can be a little bit.
I promise you this, Matthew. Rarely do I see St. Clair stumped on any matter, but I never see him stumped 2 weeks in a row. So keep listening, and we will. I guarantee if Jay doesn't have an answer, he'll have somebody around Middle Tennessee that he can point you into the right direction. Ernest is next up. We've got about 3 more minutes, Ernest, but I'll give them to you. What's on your mind?
Okay, I'll make it short and quick. A little factoid about RMS. I don't know if you ever had their green chili quesadillas or whatnot, but he got that recipe from a East Nashville landmark, a restaurant called S Fernando's, who was a retired combat veteran. And for years and years, that place used to be right beside Lytton High School. But I know Roy's Meat Service. I go in there every month just to get those green chili and red chili quesadillas. And if you've never tried them, you need to try them. And just want to throw a little fact out there that came from the S Fernando's that people have raved about since the day it closed.
And just while Ernest is talking about it, and thanks for the factoid, Ernest, in the couple of minutes that we have left, I'm curious, Jay, and I don't want to presume anything, but if she in her lawsuit kind of exposes not a code violation, but maybe, if he's selling food and he's acting more as a restaurant than a grocery store, because he does a lot of hot food sales now. Is that something that the city can kind of solve for him in terms of grandfathering his business in because he's been at that location doing it that way?
Yeah, they may can, or they may just say he's in compliance. I mean, this has gotten a lot of news on it, Matt. I'm sure the city's been out there, the county's been out there and inspected him. If they thought there was a problem, I believe they would have done something already bad.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's got to worry about the politicians. He's just got to worry about Karen.
Well, that's right.
And, Karen's more aggravating than politicians, but you can deal with Karens.
Well, contrary to my yelling and screaming on the radio about this thing or that thing in government or whatever, I know it's going to be hard for people to believe. But when you and I get out on the golf course, we talk a lot about positive and negative energy.
Right.
And it occurred to me, and I said this to Jeff Roy, that if this woman had come at him with positive energy as opposed to negative energy, this problem would already be solved.
Yeah.
But apparently that's not what she wants to accomplish. She just, Karens are going to Karen, Jay, as they say.
Well, she's from California, right?
Yeah.
So she's a Yankee. No, if you're from California, you're not from anywhere. If you're from California, you're nothing.
You're not from.
You said it.
You get extra points on the super text line if you know where that reference is from. Jay, I got to scoot, brother. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, see you later. Anybody on the super text line, just hit me up. Give me a heads up as to where that quote is from. 615-737-9986. It is Super Talk 99.7 WT, and we are graced with the presence of Taylor Hicks, and that's coming up next.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Calls for a ceasefire in Gaza growing as the death toll rises for civilians and hostages caught in the crossfire. Israeli Defense Forces confirm the IDF mistakenly killed 3 hostages during combat in Gaza. It comes a day after National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met with Israeli leaders about shifting military operations. ABC's Selena Wang has more.
His message was simple, urging and pressuring Israel to scale back the military operations, to have this shift in what they're doing from this large-scale war that is high intensity, shifting to a lower intensity model, which they say is about being surgical, tactical, going after these Hamas leaders.
An appeals court hearing arguments today in the Georgia election interference case. Attorneys for former Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows trying to move his state charges to federal court.
Meadows attorney George Terwilliger pointing to the Supremacy Clause, which establishes that federal law generally takes precedence over state law, and says important federal questions should not be decided by Georgia.
What is the extent of the duties of the Chief of Staff, the President of the United States?
And other important federal questions
Are all going to be sent to a state court to decide. That makes no sense.
But Fulton County prosecutors saying that Meadows was acting outside of his government duties, and so there's no federal authority to protect. Dave Packer, ABC News.
United Airlines flight attendants back on the picket lines at major airports today across the country.
United flight attendants say they've been working on an updated contract for 2 years, but that no deal has been agreed upon, so they're now calling for federal mediation. Airline pilots have been getting huge new contracts, so flight attendants want a share of that. They want better pay, plus rules about overtime and on-call status, and they want pay while they're working but not flying, like when a plane is boarding, instead of only getting paid when the plane is moving.
ABC's Alex Stone on Wall Street, stocks trading in positive territory in the afternoon. You're listening to ABC News.
Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy for Paul Winkler and paulwinkler.com. If you're anything like me, holiday time can be a stressful time, and retirement planning is particularly stressful. I'd rather avoid that, and if you would too, I have the thing for you. The retirement years can be here a lot quicker than you think, and they can be a lot better than you think thanks to Paul Winkler. Paul Winkler and his team can help with retirement planning. Now, first of all, I tell you that I am paid when this commercial airs. I'm legally required to do that, by the way, and Paul Winkler is a stickler for the rules, and so I say that every time the commercial airs. But he and his team always act in the client's best interest, which is why I'm a client. It is as simple as this. You sit down with Paul for a 15-minute consultation, and they will impressively explain to you how they do things different from the other guys, and they will talk to you about their approach to investment. It's not a sales pitch. It is an approach that is evidence-based, and it works. Get that 15-minute telephone call complimentary by calling up 615-851-1950, 851-1950, or go to paulwinkler.com. Once again, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to paulwinkler.com. All right, here we are. Here we go. It is 1:05. I told you it would be a different kind of show today on episode 476 of the proceedings on Matt Murphy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's politics going on. We all know that. There's also the holidays going on, and I would prefer on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday, of course, you can take the direction in any manner of your choosing, but I would prefer to lighten the mood and lighten the load just a little bit and talk about the holiday times and good feelings and good things and all things. Oh, yeah. Let me listen to a little of this.
Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
I can pick out that voice. Middle of Nissan Stadium. 70,000 people screaming and yelling. Oh, look, there's Taylor over there. Taylor Hicks is joining the show. Woo! What is up? What is up? What is up?
Matt, my friend.
What's going on,
9.7. Are we in the Christmas spirit? Are you in the Christmas spirit?
I'm getting in the mood, man. I'm doing some holiday shopping. I was just out. I was at Brentwood Jewelry the other day, buying a little something for the loved one. I mean, I'm there, baby.
I think I'm feeling it. I'm getting there. I've had a couple of Christmas shows. I've been to a couple of tree lightings. I'm getting there.
Oh, look, you got your harmonica in your hands. I see that. You go everywhere with that thing.
I'm like the Pied Piper here, Cumulus, Hopefully, after I get done with you, I'll just start playing down the halls, and I'll start ping-pong in all these radio
stations. Jump in every room. All right, so that was you on a little Jingle Bell cut.
Yeah, I did Jingle Bells. Yeah, I decided to cut Jingle Bells. I did Silent Night a couple of years ago, and what's great about Christmas music is that, you get to record it in July, which is interesting, because you have to put yourself in the mood for Christmas in July. But, the songs are public domain. Some of the songs that record are so old that they become public domain songs. So you actually retain, a lot of the money from it, So that's another great thing cool. about Christmas songs. Is
a little gift back to you.
Yeah, well, you can record it, and it also gives you a little bit. You just pay some Christmas gift on it.
If I'm maybe about to ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, and if I am, just say Murph, I don't know, and then we'll move on. But I was walking from our parking lot. E and I had our anniversary last night, 21st anniversary.
Well, happy belated.
Well, thank you. And we went to this joint. I found out about it, and it was a big home run for me. It's called the Catbird Seat, which is a weird dining experience. I would encourage anybody, if you're a foodie, go. It was 13 courses, but it was the little. Small. It was above me. It was. Right, I knew that I was not supposed to be there, but I just, minded my own business. But as we're walking there, it's behind the Virgin Hotel. So we walked past BMI and ASCAP. And Erica asked me, what is that? And I finally tried to figure it out, that it's a performance rights organization. Is it kind of like a union?
It's similar to a union. Yeah, it's similar to a union. I mean,
that's how you get paid when your music gets played.
That's basically what they do, is they police, they police it for you. So when it gets played anywhere in the world, then they will go and find it, and they will cut you a check for it.
You get like
it is
a penny
a
a
very
pop or something.
important. BMI and ASCAP are very important players, and always have been in the music game, and especially here in Nashville.
Which is why they're
great companies.
Yeah, which is why they're right at the head of music. I said I think it's a little symbolic that the two streets that is Music Row, they're right on the end of it.
It's the head of the snake, man.
Hey, Matt, if you walk into any restaurant or bar or store that plays music, they're required to have a license from one or both of those companies and display the sticker in an obvious place that they are licensed. And it's their way of generating revenue for the artist and then collecting it for
there you go.
Yeah, it's been around. It's a very archaic model, but nowadays with piracy and those two companies have really stood out to be the ones that have gone after royalties for artists for a long time.
Have you had any conversation in your world with other musicians about AI? Has that hit the music world yet?
A couple. It's hit the promotional world in where you can drum up a poster.
Right.
Like I've used a couple of posters. Like if I wanted a Christmas poster for my show in Birmingham, I was like, I want Santa, going over the Magic City and that spits. It's a really, that kind of stuff is, I feel like it's okay, just the promotional part.
Yeah, sure.
But if you're talking about it writing a song for you, it's absolutely not. I think that's
or putting in a program and giving samples of Taylor Hicks and his voice and saying, make that voice sing a different song and then throwing it out there like it's you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
got to be a scary thing.
What ASCAP and BMI are ultimately going to have to do is that they're going to have to. That's just another entity. AI is another entity that's going to have to be policed. And by ASCAP and BMI, so that's a very interesting thing. Is like, how do you're trying to police the internet for money for artists,
right?
Now you're going to have to police AI. So it's changing.
Crazy world, man.
Every 24 hours.
When you first started in this business, were you still laying on tape? I mean, there was tape rolling when you started recording stuff, right?
I still use tape. I used tape in my last record that I wrote.
Did you really?
Yeah, I used analog.
Don't mind him. He's going to move that camera.
That's that's what I love. I mean, that's a sound that will stand the test of time. For me, is just the warmth of an analog reel is. But it's changing.
By the way, when Taylor comes in, I don't know Taylor as well as some, but I know him better than others. And when he comes in, I just feel like I'm just talking to him. So y'all forgive me for a second. But to reflect on that, I bought a record player, a nice record player, hadn't had one in a while, and set it back up. And I had heard people telling me, oh, it's better than digital, it's better than digital, it's better than digital. It is. And I don't know what it is about it.
There's just a warmth. I mean, there's just a warmth to the tonality of the music. I mean, when you start getting into records, and especially when you start, working with analog tape. I mean, depending on how thick the tape is depending on how warm the sounds are, and that's just something that I've always loved, and I've always, and you can really hear the difference. I think digital's great. Don't get me wrong. It's created a lot of, you've been able to get records done in a really significant amount of shorter time than obviously tape. But there's some programs that will give you that same feeling.
Do you have a studio that if I said, what's your favorite studio that comes to mind to record in?
Yeah, I've been to all of them, and I've been to the ones in LA too. But I can tell you honestly, Southern Ground here in Nashville is a wonderful studio. Yeah. Just speaking of warmth, I mean, you've got the kitchen.
Somebody
downstairs.
like you, see, I couldn't tell the difference. If you played me a song that you recorded in one studio versus, but you can tell the difference. You can tell how the sound reacts, or
there's just a lot of different moving parts. I mean,
Yeah.
You have obviously the engineers there that you can either hire or they can, they'll provide the space in which to do it. Just, there's a lot of factors that go into having a really wonderful recording experience as an artist.
Is there anything intimidating about recording Jingle Bells? Or do you just
Absolutely not?
I mean, you know what I'm saying? But
no, it was just one of those things. I've been able to be around Delbert McClinton and Gary Nicholson here in town for years, and I've listened to their music and stuff. And I just, I decided that I was going to do kind of a Delbert McClinton take on Jingle
Oh, you
Bells.
can hear it, absolutely.
And that I was, what would Delbert do? Delbo. That's kind of my motto. And in some of the music business stuff that I've gone through, especially artistically, he's definitely one that I've always followed. So yeah, Jingle Bells, it was just kind of one of those things. It's, I wanted something upbeat and positive, and we decided to put it out, and it'll definitely get you in the Christmas spirit.
Amen. Well, download the thing. Just go to where you download music and download Jingle Bells by Taylor Hicks, and jingle jingle all the way to Christmas time. What do you do for the holidays? You got family? What?
Yeah, I got family. I go see them. This year around, man, I don't know if I'm going to be traveling a ton. This first quarter of next year, and I was just thinking about that, Matt, when I was coming up here and speaking about traveling and Christmas time. I spent a month. I spent the month of March in the Middle East, and I performed at probably 9 or 10 military bases over in the Middle East, and some of the actual bases, are very important for our safety. And I could kind of really only go that far, but when I think about Christmas time and everybody being in the Christmas spirit here, and you see, the Christmas lightings, and you see all of this wonderful, scenery, and I just kind of resorted back to what those military installations are like, and how, and just how important they are to our safety and our freedom. And they do a grand job of trying to make it as American and as possible. With, we got Subway, they had Subways and stuff, and I'm sure that all the Christmas trees are up, but I just think it's smart.
They do everything, but they can't make it home.
They can't make it home. And I feel like that, coming up here today, and having that experience and looking back on the year that I've had and spending time over there at those military installations, we need to just take just a moment when we see all of this beautiful scenery for the holidays, to wish those folks that are keeping our freedom alive a happy and warm holiday over there too.
That's cool. No, that's well spoken. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break now. When you come back, we'll talk about Franklin Theater, some of the other things you're doing around town, especially this event at the Franklin Theater, January 19th. And maybe I'll get you to play the harmonica.
Let's do it, baby.
Come on, let's do it. All right, we'll be back in a moment. It's 117 Super Talk 99.7 WTN with Taylor Hicks in studio. Back in a moment. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, friend of the show. He's a FOTS. Taylor Hicks joining us in studio. Hit his mic there, Bill. I'd like to tell you. Thank you. My hat's covering it. That's my bad. So we're talking about the holidays. Did you have any traditions when you were growing? You grew up. I should know that you grew up in Birmingham, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
I mean, I knew you were from there, but I didn't know if you grew up as a kid there.
You know, it's funny. My grandmother, my family were the worst cooks in holiday history. And so when we looked forward to casseroles and stuff, it wasn't pretty. You know? I mean, we were just, it was rough. I remember one year.
Is your mama still around?
Grandma's not.
Grandma's not?
Grandma's not.
Your mama's still here?
Mom's still.
Is your mama well aware? I mean,
mom
of your opinion
can
on
cook
this?
a little bit, but when we got around the dad's side of the family, y'all get a kick out of this. So we started digging in the dressing, and all of a sudden there was this like shimmer of red, and I said, "What the hell is it?" And we pulled it back, and it was the Campbell soup label
in the dressing.
In the dressing, you could read it as clear as day. I mean, it's been touch and go for now. My big mama, bless her heart, can fry chicken like no other. But
That's what I said
she
about
wasn't around long enough. But like, you know, the bread ties has been missing a couple times and some casseroles. During Thanksgiving and stuff. But
I tell the
bless
story.
her heart, I loved her to death. I mean, my family's a good old Southern hoot. You know,
That's funny. That's it. Well, I tell the story every Thanksgiving that my grandmother was the finest cook I ever met in my life till I met my wife, and
you got lucky.
And I did, but the woman could not cook I mean, she made a dry bird. I don't know what it was about the turkey, but she could not cook a turkey. I mean, it was just bad. You had to just slather it with gravy and just do what you got to do because you ain't going to say anything.
Yeah, some people can't. Some people just don't have the Midas touch on that.
Tell me a little bit about the Franklin Theater and this event that's coming up on January 9th. It's pretty cool.
I love Franklin Theater. It's just, speaking of what a wonderful little warm town that is, you know, especially during the holidays. I mean, they had a big Christmas tree lighting, and I'm doing a really cool little thing. I'm doing some of my songs and some songs off of Idol, and I'm doing some Bob Seger covers. So I'm going to do some Bob Seger songs. So I love doing, when I'm in those small theaters like that, to be able to kind of take an artist and kind of draw from some of his songs and do some of my songs. It's just a neat experience, and I love doing it just because I love Seeger, and so I'm kind of doing it's a really cool thing that I haven't done in a while, which I'll take an artist like Seeger or Van Morrison and play the Franklin Theater. I love the Franklin Theater, though.
Are you going to do this?
Oh, look, see, Bell's mad at me because he didn't know that you did a version of this.
Well, you've got now it's going to be your bumper music for.
That's right.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's right.
After I get out of here, it'll be the bumper music. But no, especially in the ghetto, I love that song. Yeah, I definitely do some songs from Idol, but.
Seeger,
love
you, man, I've never thought about this, but you could just destroy some Seeger.
Oh yeah, I grew up. I studied Bob a long time, and he kind of got me into the songwriting. I think Ray Charles got me to sing, and then Van kind of got me into the guitar and playing harmonica, and then Bob ended up kind of putting the cherry on top and trying to write really good songs.
You ever met Seeger?
No, once.
Yeah.
I was up in Michigan doing a show. And what's interesting is that as I've traveled and performed, up in that area, flying in and having to do shows with different musicians and stuff, played with a lot of musicians in his band over the years. And Kid Rock's too, it's just funny when you have a show in an area and you're kind of a one-off where you're not taking a bus or you're not traveling with your band. Then you usually place the call, and some musicians will get the charts and show up and play and stuff. It's kind of old hat. Chuck Berry was notorious for using some high school bands. He'd show up.
I've heard this story.
Up in any town, pull some kids from high school. It was great. It was great.
I've heard this story, and I want it to be true because I love Chuck Berry, right? Chuck Berry would tell people that would call him and want him to come and play. And I've heard this is just the story that I heard. I don't know if it's true. Is that you give me a check for $10,000 and you get me a band that knows all my songs and I'll play.
That's exactly what
that's it.
And
I will come. I'll bring my guitar, and they need to keep up.
Yeah, that's exactly how he rolled, and that's cool. And he figured it out. He figured out. Buses are not cheap. And sometimes you
especially
have
this day and age.
Oh Lord, yeah, especially.
I don't mean to get too deep into that side of the business, but I'm naturally inquisitive, right? And her favorite band is Driving and Crying. Always has been. She just loves it.
They just played, didn't they?
Yeah, we were there at the East Side Bowl.
Yeah.
What's his name? Kenny.
Kevin Kenny.
Kevin Kenny, fronting the band, and I think the bass player is still original, and the two other guys are new. But we watched, and there's probably 300 or 400 people, and we were just doing the math on it. I mean, and people think that performers that get out and do it, like Kevin Kenny, are just raking in the bucks. It is I guarantee it's a lot tighter than you would think, and they're doing it. Of course, they want to make $1 or $2. No doubt, you pay them. Are you making more of your money from a merchandise side?
Yeah, you can.
Generally speaking, I'm not talking about you, but
you definitely make money off of merch. But the old adage is that the way you make money is you go and you take your product to the people. And that you take your product on
and
the
they're
road,
going to want to consume it when they go home.
Yeah, and you want to be as a live performer as possible.
Right.
That's something that you really want to dig your teeth into and I usually tell a lot of people that are starting out in the business is that you have to learn how to play live. Being a live performer is going to set you free.
I have a question. Not to go too far down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
When you're putting budgets together to go on the road, like how many shows a week do you have to do just to break even before you're worrying about making profit?
Generally.
It all depends on the guarantees cumulatively over different regions. So, let's say I'm a little bit more, my guarantees are a little bit hotter in the South, as opposed to the Northwest.
Right.
So you have to take into consideration,
where your fan base
is and how all that shakes out because it does fluctuate regionally.
I mean, you were on, the promotional side of this for a long time, right? As a music director. I mean, he did music radio forever. Bell did. And
I did record promotion for major labels too, but it's just I've seen online where bands are talking about how just because of the cost of bus rental and fuel, that's just devastating their bottom line. And they have to do, a singer has to protect their voice, but at the same time, you have to do a certain number of shows to make sure it makes sense to even be on tour each week.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's about the one-off.
Well, and this is interesting, something from the Super Text line. By the way, you can ask Taylor a question or you can comment on the Super Text line. Call us at 615-737-9986. Talking about Chuck Berry. One call, and I'm not 8335. I'm not knocking what you're saying, but I want to get Taylor's thought on this. This guy says 8335 says Chuck Berry sucked live. Hate to say it. I went to town, and I wanted to see him, wanted to enjoy his show, but that's a consideration that I bet you have every time you walk on stage. Is that if I come to see Taylor, what you did last night, I'm not aware of what you did last. I'm not aware of how awesome you rocked it last night. You got to bring it every single day because I'll tell you a personal story. Bell Auditorium, Augusta, Georgia. This is 30 years ago. Willie Nelson is my hero, and still Willie Nelson is I think the finest songwriter in country music, and just an incredible American icon. I went to see him at Bell Auditorium in Augusta, and he was awful. He didn't want to be there. And I could tell he didn't want to be. Now, that's no knock on Willie. That was just one night and one off, right? So every night you better bring it.
It's tough. I mean, you start putting a couple of hundred shows on the books during the year. And,
it's tough to bring it every night.
You have to, and look, what's great about what I love about the American audience is especially, I was always told when I was on American Idol is that, look, you can't BS America. America's going to get it right. They're going to pick the best singer. They're going to pick, ultimately over the years, all these shows, and I think that a lot of people, I think just, the American listening public and voting public to a certain degree, you can't, they'll really quick, us Americans are pretty quick on picking up the BS. And like you said, I mean, you're in an audience and Chuck Berry comes in and he doesn't want to be there, phones it in. You can tell it.
Taylor, conversely, how many times have you walked off stage going, God, we suck tonight, and the audience is going crazy for you?
You know what? There's been a couple, and I'm.
Are you a bad critic of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to be in this business.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be. But you want to make sure that the audience, you gotta be on your game, because like I said, the audience, they're keen on it. They're almost waiting on you to suck sometimes.
Well, yeah, they can be hard asses. Yeah, you're right.
I just asked that question though, because I've had to tell bands before when they've come off stage and just we're horrible. If the audience thought you were good, then you were good. Because they don't know what you did last night. They're not going to see what you did tomorrow. And if they loved it, that counts as a win.
Absolutely. And there's, for me, I would like to think there's more wins in the column than losses.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. We don't let losers on this show, Taylor. You're winners only.
Here you go.
If there's one loser on this show, it's me. Nobody's going to be out losering me on my own show. Hey, we've got another segment with Taylor. We'll talk more about how you can pick up tickets January 19th at the Franklin Theater, and we may get him to suck and blow on that harmonica a little bit, too. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy. I'm thinking of Mark. I'm thinking of the Safe House, and I'm thinking about Christmas opportunities. Now, the clock is ticking, friends. It's 9 days shopping until Christmas. So if you get by, I can't speak for when he can get delivery to you. But I think there's a small window still available for you. So if you're thinking about a safe for the loved one in your life, if you have a gun enthusiast and they're looking to protect the things that protect your property and your family, that would be guns, that would be your Second Amendment rights, then you need a safe to protect those things, and you need that from Nashville Safe House. They're simply the best. It's all they do. Don't go to you go to some of these businesses, and I'm not knocking these businesses, but I'm just telling you the truth. They have like 3 safes in the corner. They don't know nothing about safes. They don't know what the combinations are. They don't sell safes for a living. They sell a lot of other stuff, and they happen to have some safes. That's all Mark does, safes and vault doors, and he has the selection to prove it. Over 600 total safes in stock at Nashville Safe House. So gun safe, corporate safe, jewelry safe, valuables from theft or fire, you need to protect them with Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com or stop by and see them. 4th Avenue South across from City Cemetery. Tell Mark and his team I said hello. It's Nashville Safe House. I just want to listen to this for a minute. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Taylor Hicks, Sports Swing. I would be hard pressed to tell you I don't think that's my favorite of yours. I don't.
It's very. It's
good.
It's
country. It's bluesy. It's soulful.
Yeah,
it's just got all of those. It's Taylor Hicks all through and through.
Who I am as an artist, man. I mean, that's what I grew up doing. You know, so I'm a Roadhouse dude.
How is I mean, that's got to be going. I mean, that was 4 months ago? Sometime.
Yeah.
I mean, sometime like that you released it.
Yeah, we did Porch Swing right after that, and then we're going to release. We'll do a release of the record in the spring, probably late spring.
Yeah,
full length album. I'm hoping maybe a little bit of a variation of that.
But
it's weird
because the music world has changed now because you used to tell me I'm wrong. I mean, you know this better than I ever will, but you released an album and then you released a single from the album.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
Right,
for years.
But now they want the single to come first. Or maybe, and then it's kind of
becoming a single driven. It's a single driven market. You know, it's just singles every. You know, you got to keep the attention span. Look, you know, I mean, our attention span is becoming shorter and shorter.
That's right.
So it's here's another single, here's another single, here's another single. So you're just trying to keep up with the attention span of people.
It's one of the reasons, and I'm not knocking the other Taylor Swift, right? I'm not knocking the second Taylor. I call her. You're the first Taylor.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. But there was a time, what was it, Belle? Like a year ago or so, where she had like 8 number 1 singles or something like that.
Well, there was a point earlier. I don't know if it was this year or last, but there was a point sometime in the last 18 months where she had the entire top 10.
See, and I don't think that counts anymore for me. And say that I'm just
I think it counts more than it ever did because it's actually people streaming it, picking the song and going, I want to listen to that versus some program director going, this is what we're playing.
Well, I mean, okay. All right, then fine. I still think the Beatles having number 1 through number 5 on the Billboard Top 100 is a more impressive feat, I think, but whatever. What do I know?
I have my first tour right out of the American Idol win, I had auditions for musicians and backup singers and ended up landing on a backup singer named Melanie Yema. And so about eight or 9 years ago, I'm Melanie and I keep up with each other a good bit and stuff. So all of a sudden I see Melanie and she's a background singer for Taylor Swift now. So she's on tour with Taylor and is extremely close to the camp. And every time that I see Melanie or talk to her, I feel like a proud dad in the business because I gave her her first gig. But I guess that's what happens when you're in the music business. As long as I'm becoming, is that you'll run into some people that you've worked with that you gave people some nods.
Is it weird for you to consider that you've been a internationally known name for 2 decades now? I mean, if not more. I mean, you've become Peepaw, Taylor.
Well, what's interesting is that I looked like Peepaw before I was actually.
I mean, yeah, you've always had the gray hair. I mean, how old were you when you did Idol?
28. I think I'm the oldest Idol winner. So it was funny.
What was that? It was 20. What are you now? What are you, 40?
47. So when I did Idol, I was in line, and I tell people this, is that when I got in line, people were asking me where my kids were over audition. And I had to tell them, no, because I was not really truly prepared for the audition in general.
You were the first dude to bring the harmonica in, right?
Yeah,
I don't know that anybody brought an instrument before you did.
No, I've thought about it. Was that I integrated the instrument on the walk where you walk towards the judges, so it was technically wasn't a performance,
right?
But it was an actual movement from point A to B to the judges, which was, that was kind of, I feel like that might have been the first, where the integration of an
and it was
instrument in the
just
show.
in your mind, you like, I've got to get these guys in the mood for what I am and what I do, or is it just be different?
Yeah, well, it was either that or you pulling out all your tricks. That you were, it was either going through that or starting over again.
Where were the nerves? They had to be just through the roof.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, yes and no to a certain degree. I mean, look, after you get on that show, especially on the show during the time period that it was on, which I was very lucky to be a wannabe entertainer that was on that show and moving through the rounds. But it was, to be able to jump off that platform has allowed me the 2 decades that I've needed to be in here.
I know how fortunate you were, but I also know how hard you worked to get there. And I knew that you had made it, and this may be local to Birmingham. I don't think I've ever told you this, but I knew, just not good friends, but just through friends, knew people who worked locally in Birmingham, and they were so jealous of you. I just put it that way. They were just so jealous because they had worked beside you, and it wasn't a negative jealousy. It was kind of, but they couldn't help it because they saw the talent in you when you were on stage beside them, and now they're watching you in front of untold millions of people doing what you love to do.
You got to keep your karma wheel intact. I mean, I always paid my band, even though I didn't have the money to do it. I mean, I was, take my Regions check card and spend, always paid the band.
Yeah.
I would always, take care of people and, be nice to people. I mean, karma's a real thing. And when it gets down to, a life-changing moment for you, being good to people and being nice to folks and keeping your karma wheel intact is important.
I was thinking about this when we were watching Kevin Kinney on stage with Driving and Crying. And, obviously everybody knows, Straight to Hell. And I think they'd run him out of town if he comes on stage and does a performance and then doesn't sing Straight to Hell.
Absolutely.
And for you, when we talk, when we do these interviews, American Idol is kind of that for you. I mean, you've got a lot of good singles, a lot of good music that we could play, and we do. But do you feel like American Idol? I mean, is it something that you still embrace?
Oh yeah. Oh, well, you have to. I mean, it's it's where you caught your big break. I mean, it's the platform in which you were, the medium in which you were born. The medium in which I was born was not necessarily music; it was television.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's interesting how that show, the mediums kind of they kind of interchange because it's music and it's TV first, music second. When you win the show, it's music first, and then
it's a blend of musical talent, which obviously you have it in spades, but also personality. I mean, people want to see somebody unique and different on the stage, and you had that in spades as well. They want to see that.
Yeah, it was. I think that there was. I was kind of lucky that I kept a gray as long as I did. So
did people tell you to die?
Oh yeah, they wanted me to die on the show. It's I wasn't going to do it. I was. Hey, the gray's going to stay. I'm not changing.
Well, now certainly.
I think having gray hair as young as you were has made it look like you're aging really slowly. Because all I know is you with gray hair, so it doesn't look like you've gotten any older.
It's kind of nice if you think about it, Taylor, because we thought you were 47 then, and you're 47 now.
You know what? That's the silver lining. No pun intended.
How you still enjoying living downtown Nashville?
Love it.
Yeah, beautiful.
I enjoy being down here, and I like the vibe. I always have. I bounce between Birmingham and Nashville here, but being down here and being in the thick of it's always fun.
All right, so Franklin Theater, let's talk about this. How can we go to TaylorHicks.com? Where do we go?
TaylorHicks.com. You go to the Franklin Theater's website. We've got a great show lined up. Lots of really cool musicians from in town here and from Birmingham. And the Franklin Theater, if you've never been, is a really, really special theater here in this
It's
town.
really cool. And you will not find a better downtown scene on a postcard.
Got great restaurants.
Food,
It's a great
shops, the whole deal.
That little area down there is great for dinner and a movie, dinner and a show,
so
dinner and
good.
a movie.
So good. All right, give me some. Taylor Hicks. There it is.
Merry Christmas, baby.
Taylor,
Happy
man.
holidays, Matt. Thanks
Happy
for having
holidays.
me, buddy.
It's absolutely our
God bless
pleasure.
America.
There's Taylor Hicks. We will see you January 19th at the Franklin Theater, and I hope you guys are there as well. Merry Christmas. We'll be back in a moment. Hey, friends, Tennessee Men's Clinic wants to see you. You know, if it's not in 2023, let's go ahead and set it up in 2024. Gentlemen, I want to talk to you about a couple of things that might be a little uncomfortable, but we'll get through it together, okay? If you are of a certain age, I mean, I'm 50, for goodness sake, and so I feel it. I feel that loss of energy, that loss of vitality, that loss of drive in the afternoons, and you feel like you need a coffee or you need some caffeine for a pick-me-up or whatever. Did you know that it might be your T levels? And if so, you can get these things checked out, and you can get a plan of action in place. Thank you to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. I went. They got blood work from me. I'm A-OK. I'm tip-top. But if you are not, they can help you figure out exactly what you need to get right. Now, in some guys, and this is the sensitive part, gentlemen, it manifests itself in the bedroom. And what I'll say about this is simple. No shame in that game. For half the men listening to me, you will have some experience like this. And if you've already experienced it, let's get beyond it by getting to Tennessee Men's Clinic, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. 2 locations, one in Midtown, the other in Franklin. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Here's the number, 615-208-9090, 208-9090. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It has become something of a holiday edition of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 155. We've got a few minutes before the top of the hour. Friday Mac Attack coming up just after the top of the hour, after the news by Mac Morey, back in the news closet. Your calls, your super text, 615-737-9986. If you so desire, get them in here on episode 476. Some of the headlines going on, and we're not ignoring the news of the day. And, you know, I'm honest with you. When there is breaking and important news to get to, we get to it. And when it's a slower news day, there's always something going on. I would say this, the bigger story of the day for me from a breaking news fashion, I mean, it's just an update on the ongoing horrific war that was started by Hamas and will be ended hopefully by the IDF. 3 hostages, sadly, have been killed by the IDF. And this is the big difference, in my opinion, and based on my copious amounts of research and dedication to the subject. When the Israelis screw up, they tell you. When the Israelis, they understand that collateral damage happens. They don't want it to happen. They try to avoid it happening. I don't believe Hamas gives a rip. I think Hamas celebrates when these types of things happen because they think it helps them in their public relations coup. If Hamas gave a rip about their citizens, then, well, they would actually give a rip about their citizens. They would allow some of the humanitarian aid. Humanitarian aid flows into Gaza, and Hamas immediately absconds of it. For example, there are tankers full of fuel used by Hamas that could be used by hospitals within Gaza. And so when the Gazan hospitals say we're running out of fuel, we need humanitarian aid, that fuel could be replaced by Hamas, but they refuse to do it because they don't care about the hospitals. They care about killing Jews. It's as simple as that. So when the good guys, and I've said from the beginning of this, if you don't understand who the good guys are and the bad guys are, I would suggest you've not studied the issue enough. When the good guys do bad things, the good guys tell you that they have done bad things, and it is a horrific mistake that sometimes happens during war. The Israeli Defense Forces said today that its soldiers mistakenly killed 3 hostages that were being held by Hamas in Gaza City. Remember, none of this would be happening had they not taken the hostages. During combat, the IDF mistakenly identified 3 Israeli hostages as a threat. As a result, the troops fired toward them and they were killed. During searches and in checks of the area in which the incident occurred, a suspicion arose over the identities of the deceased. The IDF continued their bodies were transferred to Israeli territory for examination, after which it was confirmed that they were, in fact, 3 Israeli hostages. 2 of the 3 hostages were identified as Yodam Hayim, 28, and Samir Talika, 22. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Israeli military said the 3rd hostage, whose family has been notified, requested that his name not be broadcast. The IDF deeply regrets and expresses deep remorse over the tragic incident and sends the families heartfelt condolences. So an identifier of the differences between the 2 groups of individuals. Hamas would never admit mistakes such as this. They intentionally kill innocent people. It is their purpose to kill innocent people, primarily Jews. And if Gazans die as a result, so be it. What is untold in American media today is that a large majority of the people in the Gazan region agree with and support Hamas, who, as a stated purpose, want to exterminate the Jews. So that's some news going on today as we're covering a few of those matters. I have not yet been able to get into and I've been listening to all of my colleagues talk about it. I heard Chris Hand talk about it first up. He dealt with it first. I think he probably noticed it before the rest of us because of his Boston roots. You know, he lived in Boston after he moved from Canada. That's a joke. I love the fact that everybody thinks that Hand is Canadian because he says a boot. But since then, I've heard Brian Wilson of The Drive comment on it. I believe Dan Mandis did the same. Boston mayor sends holiday party invite meant only for electeds of color and apologizes. But doesn't apologize for holding the party in the first place and getting caught doing so, just apologizes for sending out the invite to the wrong people. Defends the party. It's indefensible. You are selecting individuals based on the color of their skin for inclusion at a holiday gathering sponsored by and paid for by the city of Boston. And you defend the fact that you are excluding people who are white. And it's my understanding Michelle Wu, the Boston mayor, her husband is white. So I guess he can't go to the party?
They made an exception for him because he's subservient to her. So therefore, he's getting his just due as an oppressor.
So if you're a white male, as long as you're a cuck, you're fine.
Exactly. See, you know what you're talking about.
I get it. Just bow before the altar of your white privilege, and you'll be okay. It is 2 o'clock. It is time for news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up, Friday Back Attack, Holiday Edition, Holiday Movies will be our draft, and we're doing 4 rounds. That's on the way next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Right now, 60 degrees, a fairly sunny day in Music City. We'll let you know how the weekend looks weather-wise in our forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Starting with the Israel-Hamas war, the IDF confirming they killed 3 Israeli hostages by mistake, saying it happened during combat in Gaza. Here's Ines de la Catera.
It'll be interesting to see the public reaction. We've been going to Hostage Square and meeting with those families there, the families of the hostages that are all calling for the government to do more to free these hostages. I was speaking to a man there at Hostage Square last night whose niece is still being held in Gaza, and he doesn't believe going in by force is the solution. He would like to see diplomacy. We've heard that from several other families. So we'll have to see how the public responds, but we may see the public demanding a change of strategy here.
And they say that it happened during searches and checks in the area, and that's where the incident occurred. It was a suspicion that arose over the identities of the deceased. And does it feel like you're being asked to tip everything now, even things where it doesn't feel like tipping should be necessary? A new report says Americans are suffering from tipping fatigue. Alex Stone.
Maybe you just bought a bottle of water at an airport kiosk and the screen asks if you want to leave a tip, or you got self-serve frozen yogurt. There's that tip question again. A new report by payroll provider Gusto says Americans are pushing back and non-restaurant workers made 7% less in tips in the past year. Ted Rossman of Bankrate.com.
I think that this proliferation of tip prompts is making people question the very nature of tipping.
And while non-restaurant workers saw their tipping go down, the report finding restaurant workers have seen tips go up by 3% in the past year. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
You know, when someone is really, really important to the business, they say, he's the foundation of our business, or she's the foundation of our business. You ever notice that? Well, what if I told you that the foundation of your home is pretty important too? Well, it is, and you need to know if that foundation is rock solid or no. You find that out through USS, United Structural Systems. When it comes to large home repairs, you need confidence, you need peace of mind, and USS gives you that. They will come in if you believe you have an issue, if you've seen telltale signs of cracking or foundation issues, maybe you've smelled water or a musty smell in your basement or your crawl space, all you need to do is contact USS, United Structural Systems. They can assist. Homeowners simply trust USS. They've been keeping homes stable and dry since 1994. In about a month from now, I'll be able to say 30 years in business, helping people just like you at USS. I want you to contact USS today. Give them a call, or better yet, go online to see some of the incredible testimonials at USSTN.com. Here's that number, 615-488-7855. I understand it's holiday time. Maybe set something up for the beginning of the year and make sure that 2024 is going to be as good as it can be when it comes to your home, thanks to USS, United Structural Systems. Hello. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7, WTN 206. I just looked over at the Super Text line, and there are a few people that want to know a definition for a word I used last hour. I'm not going to give you the definition of that word. You'll have to look that up yourself. It is, it's a perfectly acceptable word on radio, right? I'm not going to say it again just in case I get in trouble about it. Anyway, it's the final hour of the week, maybe the final hour forever on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We made it 2 years. Yay! We've got lots to get into. There's news going on. We're covering the breaking news, et cetera, et cetera. You just heard Mac Morey covering the news items of importance, and we'll hand off to Brian Wilson at 3 o'clock. But you know how we like to get down on these Fridays.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Is he on camera yet? I know that you don't, Headless Bell, put yourself on. Is he on camera?
Oh, man. I knew you were going to bring this up. I knew you were going to bring this up.
But it's so,
is he wearing a gold chain?
Yes.
What the hell?
He's wearing a black mock turtleneck. That's a mock turtle. It's just a black.
Yeah, it's kind of like a black shirt, pretty much long sleeve.
Like a waffle shirt, whatever.
Yeah.
Why, dude? You weren't alive in the '70s. Why are you paying tribute to it?
Dude, you know what? Look up Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Cincinnati. That's what he looks like.
Wow.
No, Burrow had that outfit on with a jacket.
Once you said that, I was like, dang, I actually have seen him wear something pretty similar to this.
No, he had the black with the turtle. His was a little more of a turtleneck.
Yeah, he had like a whole turtleneck action. Yeah,
and with a jacket on top of it.
Nice sunglasses.
Yeah. It looked bad on him too.
At least his cost way more, so that's okay.
See, I'm glad you're here. No offense to Taylor Hicks. I hope that Taylor's still listening. Absolutely love Taylor.
Taylor's great.
He's fabulous, but Taylor and I know each other pretty well, but I kind of try to lay down some of that smack on him, and he doesn't really. He's like,
why is he doing that?
But with you just, whatever.
Punching bag for the station.
Hey, thanks for bringing me my mail.
Yeah, you can thank Chris Weber. Yes.
Thank you, Chris Weber, for bringing me my. Should I open this up live on air?
I take it you didn't go check if Jason's shirt was.
No, I
there.
did. Well, Weber was doing that for me so graciously while I was on the air doing my newscast. I could not find it yesterday, Jason. Chris could not find it today. If you want to super text in on how that was delivered, dropped off.
Oh, you had a shirt?
Yeah,
Jason got him
shirt.
a Cougar Chow shirt.
Well, I didn't know that. Was it? What is this? I had no idea. I was waiting for the surprise. All right. That's great.
You want to hear Dan Mandis' joke from this morning?
No.
That's Bell signaling that he's already pulled it down.
No, actually, I do have it up.
Do you really?
Yes.
You want to hear his joke from this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard this?
No. I swear.
Okay, so I heard at 8:30 or so, all I heard was Mandis saying, "Don't tell Murphy about this. Don't tell him what time it was."
Oh.
So immediately I texted Johnny B, and Johnny B told me what time that he had done this. Listen as Mandis attempts to tell a joke, and then his brethren, his cohorts,
save him.
They try to save him, and Mandis will not be saved. This is Dan Mandis from Nashville's Morning News. Go.
Talking about Biden.
You get it?
Hold on.
Wait for it. Dan, still not listening. Wait. So Dan, no, pull it down. That's it. So Dan, the brilliance of that clip, it so epitomizes when Dan tries to tell a joke, because Dan just assumed that his joke wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ken and Johnny B are trying to help him out because he functionally did something wrong that made the joke make no sense. And so they were trying to help him, and Dan just thought that they didn't think it was funny. And so it's like, oh, fine, whatever. It's like, no, you got to take out the CL, Dan. You get what I'm doing?
Guys, yeah, you see what I'm trying to do? It's like, no, I am trying to help you.
We get what you're trying to do.
We get it so well, we're trying to salvage it for you.
Oh,
boy.
that's glorious. And so he was like, don't let Matt Murphy hear this. That's great.
Mandis,
awesome.
I hope if you're listening that you're 3 deep in the Sangrias. Or the Dangrias, as the case may be.
Yes.
I call him, by the way, did you see, I call him Boss Dan. I don't call him Boss Man. He's Boss Dan.
Boss Dan, yeah.
Boss Dan Mandis. Did you see his number 4 in the United States of America? Program directors. They're doing the Barrett News Service rankings. The Hand Show was way up there. Murphy Show way up there. And Brian Wilson. Dan Mandis has a radio show, but his program director, number 4.
Wow.
I know.
Clearly, joke telling is not a component of that decision.
That's true. Everybody thinks Dan is number 2. No. Actually, number 4.
Number 4.
You see what I did there? You guys see what I did?
That?
See what I did?
Moving on.
See, I did because of number 2.
Very well.
See, number 2 is commonly, people call number 2 poop. Poop number 2. No? Nobody?
Don't let Murphy know about this.
Why is Wendy calling me the D word?
Probably me.
Mark Murray,
Yeah, it's me.
Oh.
She does this to me regularly, yeah.
Oh, right.
She does it. She never says my name correctly. It's a bit.
Uh-huh.
We both love the bit. I love it.
It's like
do you now?
Yeah.
You look like you love it.
It's like when Lindsay calls in, and every time I'm like, I say Pleasant Pleasant Valley or something like that, just to get on her nerves.
Just mess, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Always
All
get it
right.
wrong.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Born ready.
All right, we're going to have to set this up. We might have to split the draft in 2 segments because we've been discussing Dan Mandis for far too long. It is a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. More importantly, to our point for now, it's time for Friday Mac Attack.
Yes. Woo!
Yes, indeedy.
Oh,
We
yeah.
do it every Friday where Mac Maury comes in. Almost called you Mark Murray. Mac Maury stomps by, gives us a subject matter, and we do the big draft. You can draft at home on Super Text, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. The way that we do it, it's just like a draft. We get a selection order. We pick an order. And what is our topic for today, Mr. Maury?
Christmas movies. Topical. 'Tis the season. And
they're all over. They're all over.
Yeah, well, you can't scroll the channels. You can't go anywhere without seeing a old Christmas movie, an advertisement for maybe a new Christmas movie, whatever it may be. Christmas movies are in. That's what we're drafting today. Also, you came into the studio this morning and said, you know what?
A special request.
Please, can we just do 4 rounds?
4
I just have
rounds.
so many
I think we need
movies.
it.
And I think you're right. I think that's a great, because I was going to have so many left off. Now I can get 1 more on my team.
We need to go a little deeper than just 3 selections for Christmas movies.
We could do legitimately 10 rounds of this.
I think we could too. Here's the big question on my mind. Do TV shows count?
No.
I would say no too.
No.
I think they're their own thing. So that excludes, let's just establish some ground rules. That excludes Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Frosty the Snowman.
Yes.
That excludes A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
All those things. I mean, all those things are wonderful.
So great.
But they aren't Christmas movies. Now, if you want to, pull some deep Charlie Brown Christmas movie that came out or something, that's fine. I'm not begrudging you guys.
I think play in theaters.
Right. So I think Christmas movies.
So the old Rudolph?
No.
It's a TV show. It was a television show. Is that changing your vote? I mean,
no, that's fine.
This is a democracy.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Mob rule.
Yeah, we deal with mob rule. All right, let's figure out our draft order real quick. And all right, you ready? You got it, Bell?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, go.
Dang it.
Bell.
Bell's first pick.
All right, odds or evens?
Odds.
Yes.
Why do
yes.
I don't even bother.
All right, Murphy with the third pick.
I'm number 3, as you can tell by the disgust in my voice. But I don't think you can find a wrong pick in the first draft.
First round's going to be just 5-star movies here.
It is tip top. Okay, Bell K. I would love, man, oh man, wouldn't it be smart to have some instrumental Christmas music rolling behind this bit?
Well, we haven't really asked for music for this segment, Matt. I mean, it's not like we've requested that.
Right, because a lot of times when you're doing a lighter bit, which involves just discussion and bouncing back and forth, you kind of have some flow beneath you, but we don't need that. We don't need that garbage.
Radio professionals here. No.
Bell?
What?
Would you like... Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I would, as a matter of fact.
Well, I guess you get to because you won the draft, you jerk.
And after that little bit, I'm going to smack you right in the throat with this one. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Dang.
I mean, yeah, everybody saw that coming.
Matt would have taken that otherwise.
Yeah, he was definitely going to take that.
I dig a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You know what? With that selection, I wouldn't be more surprised, Eddie, if I woke up this tomorrow morning with my head sewed to the carpet. I think I had that right. All right.
Pooper's full.
I'm going to go, it's one of my favorites, not my favorite, but my favorite's going to be there in the 4th round. You guys just won't draft it, which will be great. I'm going to get a classic here.
A classic. That means it came out 2 years ago.
No. I'm just predicting that. I'm predicting that he's saving the tender tearjerker for the final round.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Ah, damn it.
Watch it every year.
See, I thought I could have gotten that in 2nd or 3rd round.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite movies. My dad's favorite movie of all time. We watch it every year as a fam. Great movie.
What year did it come out, Mac?
I want to guess too.
So it's Jimmy Stewart, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Donna Reed.
70s.
45.
Oh, it's close.
46.
It was 1946.
Okay. Yeah, I was just,
there is not.
Movies, spend a lot of time there.
I'll tell you this: there is not a time that I watch the final moments of that film that I don't cry, and I cry because of the sentiment of what makes a man rich in life, and it reminds me of my grandpa. My grandfather was the richest man I ever knew, and he had $2,000 in his bank account when he died because of the friendship groups that he made. And it's when Harry gets there, and they're all giving the money to help save George. And Harry toasts him and says, to my big brother George, the richest man in town. And he's not talking about money. He's not talking about the money. He's talking about the group, the friendship.
IMDb actually lists that as the #1 Christmas movie of all time.
I got it with number 2 pick.
So. Front runner.
Yeah.
Oh boy, where do I want to go?
I know what it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to put my finger on it. You're watching. I'm putting my finger on my pick.
Putting the finger on the pick.
What's it going to be?
Christmas Story.
It is a Christmas story. Of course it's a Christmas story. Ralphie and the BB gun, come on.
That's a great one. I was hoping I could snag that later.
Christmas story.
Dang it.
Oh, boy, that's a great one. No, it's a classic. It's shown on Turner, TNT, and TBS every holiday season. And what I love about that is the same thing I love about Vacation and really movies of that genre. They really work when you can just turn them on and it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
You just go away, you come back, and every scene is a delight.
Yes, and as delightful as you saw it the very first time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, good one. Bell,
yeah,
you want to? Let's do round 2. We'll take a break, and then we'll do the final 2 rounds after.
Perfect.
First Christmas movie I ever recall seeing, and I absolutely loved it as a kid, Miracle on 34th Street.
Trash pick. Trash pick, trash movie, great loser move by the #1 pick of the draft.
Comparable.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I on? Oh, my goodness. I thought I was just thinking those things. Bell, that's
I'm
good
sorry,
for you. No, it's good.
You know what's crazy? That's not his worst draft pick in the history of us doing this because, again, we did patriotic war movies and he picked Captain America Civil War. So, anyways, I will go on with the next pick in the 2nd round here.
I'll turn your mic off, you little rat bastard.
Easy. It's the holidays.
Elf.
Yeah,
it's a great one. Yeah.
Elf
it's
is
a classic.
good.
I guess now it's a classic. I don't know.
I'm thinking that I can get number 3 and number 4 without trouble, without hassle. So, by the way, my wife asked a question.
Yeah.
This morning, and I nixed it and I took it off the board, but I want to ask you guys when we come back, I mean, everybody agrees that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. He's going to a Christmas party, for goodness sake.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in.
It's a Christmas movie. There's another movie that has Christmas scenes that is similar. There's a debate about, and I wasn't going to get into it. There's a little bit of a debate on It's a Wonderful Life, whether it's a Christmas movie.
Wow, really?
But my argument has always been
That's absolutely a Christmas
well,
movie.
a lot of it is not set during Christmas, but the climax of the film surrounds itself with Christmas. When he asks not to have ever been born, all of that happens on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it has to be a Christmas
Majority of it. Yeah,
I
exactly.
completely agree.
You guys want to
100%.
know the one that Erica asked about?
Yes.
I'll tell you after the break, after I make my selection.
Nice tease.
I'm going to go the new animated version of The Grinch. Not Jim Carrey. It's the Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
I don't
Kevin
know.
Smith's producer co-directed that.
Oh, did he?
Scott Mosier.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I don't know who we're talking about now.
I don't know if I've seen that.
The new animated version
I don't
with
think I have.
Kenan
It came out like
Thompson
2 years
and
ago?
Benedict and the dog Max. Oh my goodness!
I need to watch this.
Fabulous because
Okay, great.
they managed to make the Grinch likable and unlikable. So I mean, it's an easier. It's a great.
Okay,
version
I
of the
love
Grinch.
that.
Really,
I got
really
a new
well
Christmas
done.
movie to watch this year.
Oh no, you
Great.
got to see it.
Yes.
You got to see it.
Okay.
All right. So the new version, the animated version of the Grinch, is really good. That's my number 2 pick. We'll get to our other picks in just a moment. It's 2:21. We're in the midst of the Friday Mac Attack big Christmas movie draft on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I will be at Savory Spice, L&L Market, just after the show. I'm picking up a couple of things for the holidays. You know, I do what I ask you to do. I am right here with you, right? I mean, I go to Savory Spice. I grab all the deliciousness off of the shelves. I have my favorite salt. It is the Alderwood Smoked Sea Salt. I strongly recommend it. So good on most just anything you want to throw on the grill. Put some of that sea salt on there, and it is delightful. Friends, I encourage you to go to Savory Spice for all of your spice needs. They've got a lot of holiday stuff available for you right now at the either of the locations, either in Franklin, just off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy, or L&L Market here in Nashville. Stop by and see them there. They're available for you, and they've got the spices of the season at Savory Spice. If you're there later on this afternoon at L&L Market, you'll see me. Otherwise, I'll see you down the road at Savory Spice. Tell Holly and David Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy, and let's talk about the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin for just a moment. I encourage you, during the holidays, if you found your back is giving you more trouble than it has in the past, or perhaps you've been avoiding it, I like to call it whistling past the graveyard, right? Pretending the problem doesn't exist in order to ignore it and hoping that it will go away. Well, it will not go away in most cases. Well, the Dr. Gill Center can help alleviate that pain without the need for pills, without the need for needles, and certainly without the consideration for surgery. I encourage you to contact the Dr. Gill Center right now and allow him to alleviate you or allow one of their fine team, Dr. Wendy, Dr. V, Dr. Dominic. They've got over collectively 100 years experience in the Dr. Gill Center with their team doctor approach. So chiropractic care, check. Soft tissue inflammation, they can take care of it. They're going to soothe what ails your back, your neck, your knees, your elbows, wherever it hurts. They can help at the Dr. Gill Center. Call for a pain-free life in 2024 by dialing up 615-882-4838, 882-4838. It's the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. I don't know what to do with my final two picks. All right, we're in the midst of our big draft. Mac Morey, Friday Mac Attack, a little dose of Cougar Chat, and looking particularly fetching today, I got to say.
Appreciate it.
And I really like do you wear that every day, the little hair thing?
And this is the two little things that Hannah
No,
got me. Yeah,
that's so sweet. You know what? You know why she gets you to wear those?
Marker territory.
Yeah, keep the ladies off of you.
Yeah.
Because they assume you're not interested.
Yeah, she's pretty much told me that right up front.
I'm glad I figured this out.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Glad he's got a Joe Burrow look going on. You can check it out on Super Talk TV. Okay, we're in the midst of the draft, and I know we got to go quick because Mac Moore's got to do the news. Belle, what were your first two picks?
My first two picks were National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and Miracle on 34th Street, which we really inappropriately called trash.
Yeah, it is.
And you will probably go to hell for that.
I mean, have you ever actually watched the movie?
It's a great movie.
Boring until you get to court at the end of it.
It's literally it.
Your first two selections were, sir?
It's a Wonderful Life and Elf.
Really good ones.
Feeling great.
I got A Christmas Story and The New Grinch. You got to see it.
Yeah, I need to see that.
I'm most excited in this segment about you not having seen that and you watching it and giving me a report.
Totally going to watch it. Yes.
All right. The real quick before we do picks, my wife asked me this question.
Okay.
And I had a firm answer. When Harry Met Sally?
No.
Yeah, I said no too. There's two pivotal scenes that involve Christmas at the end of the movie. They have two Christmases together where they have the fight. But I told her that the climax of both of those happen on New Year's.
Oh, yeah. I've seen
and it's
not only that, when the most memorable scene is a woman faking something, that's not a Christmas.
I'll have what she's having.
Yeah.
And what I like most about me bringing this up is Mac Moore's currently looking it up on his phone to see if he's ever seen it.
Yeah, and I've seen this, and no, I don't think this is.
No, it's not a Christmas movie.
No.
All right, Belle, go.
All right. I was debating whether to go with the original or the reboot, and I decided to go with the reboot. I'm going to say Bill Murray's Scrooged.
Ah, gosh, that's good.
Nice.
That's really good shot. That's a good shot there. I'm going to go another version. Well, go ahead. You're next. I'm sorry. I think you subdivide those, by the way. I don't think Scrooged and A Christmas Carol are the same movie. I think you subdivide those.
Same story.
I think you subdivide those. There's different movies. They're different movies.
They're different movies.
Yeah.
There's lots of Christmas movies with the same story. My third pick, I think I'm going to go Home Alone.
Home Alone's good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been in my top four, so that's good.
Wow,
I mean, I like that we
really?
divided. Look, my team's got a different.
That's fine.
We got a different game plan
Different
on the
style,
field here.
Yeah, different style of play.
I'm going to go Muppet Christmas Carol, which is why I was emphatic.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair, right?
Very
Muppet,
different movie.
Yeah,
Very different
I
film.
can agree with that. Yeah, I think you're right.
And I love Muppet. The best part about Muppet Christmas Carol are the rats. The best part of the little rats. Anyway, all right, we got to go quick. Belle, number 4.
The Ref with Dennis Leary.
I love Dennis Leary. And I like The Ref, but it would not make it.
I haven't seen The Ref.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's good. I mean, if you know Dennis Leary, and you would know him if you saw him.
Okay.
A Boston guy, a comedian. That's pretty good. I like that.
Dennis Leary. Yeah. Okay.
Real brief synopsis is a cat burglar is forced to take a bickering, dysfunctional family hostage on Christmas Eve.
Okay. Sounds intriguing. Last pick, my favorite movie, maybe my favorite Christmas movie ever. One that I spent my whole childhood watching literally every morning.
Oh, no.
I love this movie so
Take my
much.
pick. Love Actually.
He's never seen
Give me Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You didn't take my pick. That's
pretty
good.
good.
Turbo
That's all
Man.
right. I cannot believe that you're going to give me the Santa Claus, but I'm going to take it.
You
I
can
think
have
the
it.
Santa Claus was a
With
great.
Tim Allen.
You can have it. You can have Miracle on 34th Street till the cows come out. I'll take the Santa. Oh yeah. Where
So
becomes
good.
Santa? No,
Oh,
it's good.
so
Good concept.
good.
Oh yeah.
Honorable
No.
mention to
I'm
Gremlins.
actually jealous.
Oh well, you want honorable mentions? How about the Gremlins? My wife. You know.
What, we got some super text honorable mentions here?
Gremlins is one of them.
Okay, good.
Somebody mentioned Elf. Emma
I've got
Donner's
that.
Jug Band Christmas, which technically was on HBO, which is why I didn't pick it. Holiday Affair, Christmas in Connecticut. What about Batman Returns? I don't think that's... Four Christmases, we're told. I don't know that I've ever seen Four Christmases. I'm looking at Home Alone is greater than A Christmas Story. You are a heretic, and you need to go listen to another radio station, 6766. I don't want you on mine anymore. I'm telling you. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
Oh, my God.
I'm not going to make a matter of taste a matter of fact. I try not to do that. Die Hard, a lot of Die Hards.
Die Hard. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one that's one of the bigger ones that maybe we didn't draft.
Polar Express. That's why we did
Polar
4 rounds. We could have done 10 rounds.
I love Polar
Wendy
Express.
just took another wicked shot at Mac.
What'd she say?
You look like a background extra for a Hanson music video.
It's time for news.
It's way past time for news. Mac would respond to that with a pithy retort, Wendy, but he has to put on his news hat now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.232, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 60 degrees and sunny on Music Row. Got a weather forecast, let you know how your weekend looks here in a couple minutes. The IDF confirming they killed 3 Israeli hostages by mistake, saying it happened during combat in Gaza. Here's Anastasia Katera.
You can bet that this is going to renew questions as to the IDF's strategy here to go after these hostages by force. The IDF, the Israelis, have said that there is no other way to rescue the hostages at this point because diplomacy has really hit an impasse. But we are learning every day of additional hostages who've been killed. So lots of questions as to whether that new approach is working. But for now, the Israelis say there's no negotiating with Hamas.
And right now in Middle Tennessee, Channel 4 says the National Weather Service in their tornado damage surveys are finding that homes were improperly secured to foundations before the tornado outbreak on Saturday. Chris Hurley is one of the inspectors and tells Channel 4 several homes in North Clarksville were secured to their foundations by nails only.
Without any kind of strapping or extra, anchoring, it's really a bad situation when you have 150-mile-per-hour winds.
And Clarksville Mayor Joe Pitt says the city wants to see the evidence and to follow up on improperly secured foundations. And staying in Tennessee, Governor Lee announced that 23 Tennessee prisoners will be pardoned. 22 former Tennessee prisoners were given pardons, and it was an official statement of forgiveness, while one current prisoner who has earned multiple degrees while in prison from Lipscomb University had her parole eligibility expedited. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you want to get involved on this radio program, you may do so right now. 615-737-9986. I've unblocked the phone lines. We block them up to avoid ringing in the background while Bel K is considering his number one pick in the Christmas movie draft. Bel, I'm looking at the Super Text line. We always get a tremendous response. This is the biggest response we've ever gotten. And I think it's probably because of a wealth of different movies that you could select from.
No, I think it's got more to do with how much people love Mac.
Well, they certainly do love him. Let's see. Is Lethal Weapon, is that a Christmas movie? I mean, we're really stretching it, aren't we?
Yeah, we're getting a little too far here.
I'm giving everybody Die Hard because
you are not giving anybody Die Hard. That is a Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, it's an action movie that's set at Christmas time, so sure, it's a Christmas movie. Some would suggest that a Christmas movie by design has to have some sort of theme of redemption behind it or whatnot, and you don't get a lot of that out of Die Hard. Although, Hans Gruber does die, and there's that. I love the Advent calendar with Hans Gruber falling down Takahome Tower or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. You've seen that?
Yeah.
The little, it's not Christmas till he splats.
I've seen a lot of White Christmas texts.
A lot of White Christmas.
Yeah,
well, I'm about to get
fair.
into that. I would suggest one of the top 10 lines in any Christmas movie would be, now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. It's a Wonderful Life is obviously a big one. Home Alone. Yeah. Surviving Christmas, never seen it. Bad Santa. I guess I've seen Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
Krampus. I've never seen Krampus. Four Christmases is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. And by the way, for those of you, obviously the greatest Christmas story ever told is the greatest story ever told is by the birth of Jesus Christ. And we kind of set that one aside for more holiday themed. We shouldn't set it aside. I shouldn't have said it that way. I don't want folks coming after me and all mad because I'm not setting the baby Jesus aside. I'm simply suggesting, obviously, that one's number one in our hearts because otherwise there would be no Christmas and there would be no Christmas movies. So there you go. Ernest Saves Christmas is a film. I know that Jim Varney was from, he was from around here, right?
Yeah, I actually, it was funny. I ran into him in a jewelry store in Rivergate Mall when he was buying an emerald earring.
Like one?
One.
For himself?
And he turns around and I've got, I have earrings and he looks at me, he sees my earrings. He goes, what do you think? Like, that's you, man.
Holiday Inn with Bing Crosby. But by the way, I bring up Jim Varney because several of you have said Ernest Saves Christmas. Never was a fan. I thought he was a very good comedian. I thought I got it. I understand why those movies became popular. I understand. Didn't he start off in commercials though? I don't
know if he started off in commercials. The one thing I know he did movies and I've seen plenty of his movies, but the thing he was most impactful in my life over was a PSA he did about crushing your soda bottles so that they don't take up as much space in the landfill. And as soon as I saw that, to this day, I will still smush a can or a bottle before I throw it away because of him.
I want to say that he started in that Hey Vern thing. Hey Vern.
That sounds right for some reason.
He was speaking to the camera and you never saw Vern.
Right. That sounds correct.
It sounds right. And then he parlayed that into film and obviously made a ton of movies on the Ernest Saves line. Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest Saves Camp, Ernest Saves New Year's, Ernest Saves this, Ernest Saves that. All right, so there you go. Home Alone is getting a lot of votes coming in so fast I can't even count them all. But and yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Obviously, we've established it. Polar Express, I didn't like the animation. The animation creeped me out.
Do you know the behind the scenes on that movie?
I do not.
Tom Hanks, he played every character.
What?
He played every character. Every main character, the homeless guy on top of the train, the conductor, the boy. He was every main character. Santa Claus.
He's got range, man.
Like vocally too?
Yes, all of it. And as far as the animation's concerned too, they put the little dots on him and he acted out each part.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, Tom Hanks is creepy, so no doubt I would think no, I'm just kidding. I just like to say things that get me into trouble. Like,
you do.
Tom Hanks is overrated.
Stop.
And Dan can't tell a joke.
One of those two things are true. That's an objective truth. I can't believe neither one of you guys said Christmas comes to Willow Creek. I think that's probably going to be a joke. I hope that that's a joke, 8747, because I'm here to tell you that I've never heard of Christmas comes to
You
Willow
have got to be kidding me.
No.
Really?
Wait, are you joking, Bell?
Yes.
So none of us have heard of Christmas Comes to Willow Creek.
None of us.
No idea what
good.
that is.
Glad to hear that. I don't even know what Nicolas Gage is, and people keep saying Nicolas Gage, and I keep thinking that you're misspelling Nicolas Cage, and I'm trying to think of Christmas movies that Nicolas Cage has been in, and I can't think of any. And then Fat Man with Mel Gibson? Wasn't that Fat Man?
Don't remember that movie.
I think so. Mike, tell me, but I think that's right. Mel Gibson was in a movie called Fat Man, and it was like one of these Santa slaughter, kind of like Violent Night, Holy Night, or whatever it was.
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
Called Fat Man, right?
Fat Man.
Yeah, there you go. One of my favorites that I did not mention because I did not want to get into a debate as to whether it was a television show or a movie because it originally aired on TV. It aired on HBO, if I'm not mistaken, is one of our family's favorites, and I would encourage you to make it one of yours. It's Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Emmett Otter?
Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. It's a Muppets creation. It was based on a book, and I forget who wrote the book. Jim Henson produced it. It was a 1-hour television adaptation of a story that was based on the gift of the Magi. And if you've never seen it, it's absolutely fabulous. It premiered on HBO. It later aired, I guess, on ABC. And we've got it on DVD.
But it didn't play in the theaters.
No, it didn't. That's why I didn't bring it up. Yeah. That's why I didn't vote for it.
Fair
But Kermit the Frog introduces the plot. It's Emmett Otter, and they don't have a lot. Dad's gone. And it's about the true gift and the true spirit of Christmas and the true gift of giving. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of Muppet fun along the way. So if you've never seen it, I would encourage you to pick it up. 245, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mentioned this Boston mayor, speaking of the holidays. What's fascinating to me is how so many reporters don't ask the right questions when it comes to this story. It is comical. Michelle Wu, and as I mentioned before, I heard Brian talking about it yesterday. I heard Chris Hand talking about it as well. I mean, everybody's taking a crack at this. I'm late to the game. So Michelle Wu, who is the city of Boston's first Asian American mayor, recently had her aide, Denise Dos Santos, send out an email for an event that is an Electeds of Color party. And she's now come under fire for sending out said invitations for this holiday party, which is intended for minority city councilors only. Honorable members, it says. On behalf of Mayor Michelle Wu, I cordially invite you and a guest to the Electeds of Color holiday party. The city leader drew criticism and condemnation after it became apparent the email was sent to all of the city councilors, not just the ones who are of color. I would note, by the way, that white is a color. And just to fill in a bit of the background, the reason that this entire phrase exists is to create exclusionary practices based on the color of one's skin, primarily against white people. So identity politics dictates that naturally you're going to find victims and oppressors. And there are many within the leftist community that want white people to be the primary oppressor. And by design, they create these designations that include everyone but white people. So it's not enough to say black person versus white person in their minds, or brown versus white, they want you to collect together as a group and turn against those that they perceive and want to convince you are the oppressors in any given circumstance, and that would be whitey. That would be whitey. Now, simultaneously, these same people are telling you that you could be anything you want. What was the woman's name? Rachel Dolomite, Rachel Dolezines, Rachel Delins, whatever she was. She was a white woman that, quote-unquote, identified as black. And this was only 5 or 6 years ago, and she was lampooned. She was dismissed from her 15 minutes of fame. Get out of here. You can't just say you're black and you're black. It's not how any of this works. Well, it's not how it works. Dolezal, thank you. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but it works that way today. So I find it fascinating that simultaneously you can choose to be a victim or an oppressor based on the color of your skin, and you can change the color of your skin based on your mood that day. Well, Michelle Wu, about 15 minutes after the email was sent out, DeSantos apologized and clarified the invitation was meant only for minority council members. She did not apologize for planning a party that specifically excluded people based on the color of their skin. And no reporter seems to be able to get to the bottom of this. How is it right that you're excluding people based on their skin color? In the meantime, and this is what you find most often in cases like this, other city councilors who are white, when asked about it, they don't want to get involved. They don't want to cause a stir. It didn't upset me. According to outgoing city councilor Frank Baker, who is a white person, he called the mayor's exclusion of certain members unfortunate and divisive, but that's really all he would say about the matter. Citing tensions on the city council, Baker did not speculate about the reasoning behind the mayor's decision to host the party, but did not think it was a good move. Quote, I find it unfortunate that with the temperature the way it is, we would further division. He went on to say that he was not personally insulted by the decision. I don't really get easily offended. To offend me, you're going to have to do much more than not invite me to a party. Black City Councilor Brian Worrell had a different opinion, defended the invitation, suggested the holiday party was a way to represent all kinds of special groups. White people aren't a group. We make space and spaces for all kinds of specific groups in the city and city government. This is no different. The elected officials of color have been around for more than a decade, Worrell said in a statement. What happens, and I know the question's been asked 1,000 times since this story broke 2 days ago, what happens when Matt Murphy and Belle Kay and Mac Morey and Brian Wilson and others get together and have a white-only party? Of course we would be lambasted. And probably, we certainly would be reprimanded, if not fired. No corporation could get away with this. No business could get away with this. And no government should be able to get away with this. But sadly, Michelle Wu will be able to get away with it. And more importantly, not apologize for it. Unbelievable. Well, all too believable in today's environment. Just wanted to get my 2 cents out on it before the weekend got here. It's 2:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm told that Jim Varney did dairy commercials for Purity Milk.
Well, I know he did those. I remember him doing those, but I don't recall if that was prior to him actually getting into movies.
Yeah, and that's my question. The first time I remember seeing Jim Varney was on a local television commercial out of Augusta, Georgia, which is where the television stations originated for broadcast in Thompson, Georgia, which was my hometown about 30 miles away. First time I seen that. And now I am also told that Nicolas Gage is not actually a Christmas movie. The gentleman was actually trying to say Nicolas Cage, and the film is The Family Man, movie that I've never seen. But maybe we'll make a point to see it over the holidays. All right, one final segment. We'll talk with Brian Wilson about what he has coming up on the drive next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you to all of you inundating us with the early biography of Jim Varney. You never know how these things come up. Ernest Saves Christmas is how it came up for us. Jim Varney, obviously a White House native when he passed away. I didn't realize this. At the age of 50, local comedian turned good on the national stage. We were discussing holiday movies. And I turned to Brian Wilson of The Drive, and I asked him this question before we get into what he's doing this afternoon. Brian Wilson, no right or wrong answers here. What is your favorite holiday movie?
Well, I used to like White Christmas a lot, Bing Crosby. I know it's old and schmaltzy, but I really liked it. But I have to answer that today it's whatever's on the Hallmark Channel because that's all I'm allowed to watch.
Hey, Brian, I have a question for you. Is Miracle on 34th Street, is that a trash movie?
No, that's a great
Okay,
movie.
thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Bell's mad at me, Brian, because I made fun of him for selecting Miracle on 34th Street because I don't care for it. I'm not trying to make a matter of taste a matter of fact.
You are.
I just don't care for it.
Of modern movies, I must say, though, I'm a big fan of the movie Elf. I think Will Ferrell was brilliant in that. And I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now, and I'm telling you, each and every time I see it, I still bust a gut laughing because it's just the performances are so amazing.
When he eats he's sitting in the doctor's office eating the cotton balls. I lose my gourd. He just keeps eating them. And
I love
James
the angry
Caan,
elf scene myself. That's my favorite one.
He's an angry elf.
He's an angry elf.
Oh, Brian, this fun and frivolity must come to a close for us. I imagine you'll carry it forward on a Friday edition. What do you got going on?
Well, I mean, among other things, we're going to hit all the news of the day, obviously. But it's been far too long since I had my good friend Kathy Lee Gifford on the program.
Ooh.
And she's participating in a concert over at Belmont's Fisher Center, which, if you've not been to that facility, oh my gosh, is it amazing, with a group called Louis York. And all three. We'll have Louis York, which is a duo, and Kathy Lee Gifford joining us in the 4 o'clock hour to talk about the concert that they call Hope for the Holidays, which we all could use a little hope for the holidays.
That's pretty cool. I love that. Kathy Lee Gifford on The Drive with Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll be listening. Hope you are as well for the full 4 hours. Until Monday, I'll be back on Monday, and then I'm out next week for the rest of the week, and then I'll be in for Brian the following week as he's taking a little time off for the holidays. A lot of us doing that this time of year. We've got Mac Maury's newscast coming up now and The Drive after that. Have a wonderful afternoon, folks. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Until then, so long.